got some breaking news here on the Raiders Report. The Las Vegas Raiders have signed edge rusher K'Lavon Chaisson. Yesterday, Antonio Pierce spoke to the media and said that Tom Telesco was going to go out there and look for a little bit of extra defensive end help due to the injuries of Malcolm Koonce, due to the injury to Tyree Wilson. We still don't know exactly how long Wilson's going to be out. Now, for those of you that are watching us live today, I'll kind of get into some of the details based on some of the conversations that I have had. But for K'Lavon Chaisson, I know there's going to be a lot of people that go, Mitch, well, who exactly is this and why are you live? Why are you fired up? I'm fired up about it because, one, Tom Telesco actually went out and he did something. We've been sitting on so much salary cap money and just waiting around. If you're not going to go out and extend some of these players that I thought you could extend, you better go out and try to make this defense the best it possibly can. But I'm not going to sugarcoat this. K'Lavon Chaisson has been a bust. He was drafted in round 1 out of LSU, and he has been a player that has not lived up to the hype at all. So there's point 1 of K'Lavon Chaisson. But I'm also going to say this, and I'm not going to compare the two because they are different players at different positions. But everybody thought that Jack Jones washed up. Everybody thought that Jack Jones was a bum. No way it was going to be a good move. And I sat up here and I go, I believe in Antonio Pierce, and if I'm going to believe in Antonio Pierce, if I'm going to believe in Patrick Graham, then I'm going to believe in this move here. On top of that, we also know that sometimes you just need a little bit of a change of scenery. Rob Leonard has worked magic with some of these players on the defensive line, like a Janarius Robinson. Also, Raiders linebacker coach Mike Caldwell was in Jacksonville. Sometimes guys just need a little bit of a change of scenery, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my grade on this signing, and I think it's going to be a little bit higher than what some of y'all are going to anticipate, but this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. If you took time out of your day to watch this show, I want a grade right here. If I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to scream commitment to excellence about these players, I think us as fans need to bring that exact same commitment to excellence. If you're going to ask for it, you better bring it. So give me an A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the signing of the Raiders going out and getting K'Lavon Chaisson. I'm going to give this a B-plus grade. I do think that there's some legit upside here. And, when I was live talking about my one-word reaction, I did. I said it's a B-plus move. We don't know what the money looks like yet. Also, at the end of the show here, we could talk about some other players that the Raiders could have potentially gone out and get. But here's what I see. I see a player that has legit first-round talent. He was in a situation in Jacksonville that did not go well. He had to deal with Urban Meyer. He had to deal with all these different head coaches and had to deal with a lot of different DCs, a lot of turnover in general, which really made it difficult for him to, I think, just be able to go out there and do his thing. So now what do? You put a lot of talent. You put a lot of talent next to a guy like Maxx Crosby. And when you talk to a lot of the people that say what they do about K'Lavon Chaisson, it's just he's not consistent enough. He hasn't had somebody that's been able to put his arm around him and say, hey, this is exactly what you need to do. The Raiders have that in Maxx. They also have, I think, one of the best defensive coaching staffs in the National Football League, led by Antonio Pierce, led by Patrick Graham, led by Rob Leonard, led by Mike Caldwell, the linebackers coach. I believe in the Raiders coaching staff, and I know for a fact K'Lavon Chaisson's got some talent. I'm hoping 1 + 1, it's going to equal a lot of sacks for the Las Vegas Raiders. Coming up here, though, we're going to talk about Tyree Wilson's injury a little bit. We'll talk about Malcolm Koonce, some of these players on the depth, and I know there's a lot of people down in the comments saying, well, what about Yannick Ngakoue? What about some of these other players? We'll bring up some of those names, and then there's still one other player out there that if I'm the Raiders, I'm telling you right now, I'd be interested in going out and trading for him. Now, if anybody out there is trying to optimize their finances, I've been trying to save money for my wedding this entire year, and shout out to Rocket Money for being able to help me do that. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Stop wasting money on things you don't use, cancel your unwanted subscriptions, and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/LV Raiders. Most people think that they're spending $80 on their subscriptions when in reality, the number is closer to $200. When you're signed up for so many things like streaming services you used to watch on one show or free trials for delivery you don't use, it's easy to lose track of what you're paying for. Rocket Money can even negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. So nation, rocketmoney.com/LV Raiders. Jeremy Chugs is putting all of those links for you guys down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. And I'm going to look at all y'all right now because I know a lot of people are dealing with this currently, and I'm currently dealing with it. I know right now that DirecTV Stream has been effing around and I can't watch SportsCenter, I can't watch ESPN, I couldn't watch a lot of football games. You know what? I'm going to send my bill to Rocket Money, and they did it for me like a year ago, and I said, hey, I'm paying I think I'm paying like $120 a month for cable. They're going to take that, and they ended up getting my phone, or the bill, I want to say, down to like 60 or 70 bucks because it went on for 2 weeks. If anybody's dealing with that problem right now, you send that screenshot to Rocket Money, and they're going to be able to help you out. That's why I love this freaking app here. So let's also talk about the other reasons why this move ended up happening. Tyree Wilson. I spoke to somebody close to Wilson, and basically he gave me a little bit of his knees obviously sore. It sounds like it's a mild knee sprain, which is what Ian Rappaport reported yesterday. It's just they don't know the severity of the sprain from what I know right now. We're kind of hoping, Raider fans should be hoping, that it's what's known as like a grade 1 sprain, which probably means he's only going to be out like 1 to 2 weeks. I was told that it could be a grade 2, which if that ends up happening, he's going to end up being on that short-term IR, kind of like what Malcolm Koonce is, but it's not going to be anything more than that. This is not a season-ending type of thing based on the information that I have received right now from Tyree Wilson's team. But all I'm saying is you needed to be able to go out there and add a little bit more depth because Malcolm Koonce, he's out until at least week 5. But when you read the report from ESPN's Paul Gutierrez hints that there is a chance that Malcolm Koonce can be out the entirety of the season. So I know that the Raiders went out and got K'Lavon Chaisson. But here's the thing. We need to go out and get somebody else. Like, we were relying on Malcolm. We were relying on Tyree Wilson. And I love Charles Snowden in the preseason. I think Charles Snowden is an awesome human being, works his freaking tail off, and has showed you that he deserved to at least get on that practice squad, ended up getting promoted. But if you're going to be in a division that's got Justin Herbert, if you're going to be in a division that's got Sean Payton, if you're going to be in a division with the back-to-back Super Bowl champs, Patrick Mahomes, and then you look at just all the other QBs that we're about to be going up against, you know what I mean? Like, we got Lamar Jackson, Bryce Young, I know hasn't looked good, but he's still mobile enough. Deshaun Watson, same thing. Even a little bit later on in the season, Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow. I mean, there are so many talented quarterbacks that we're going to be going up against. So I'm telling y'all right now, I don't think that the Raiders should be done. I think that the Raiders should go out and try to get another edge, and maybe it is somebody like a Unique Ngakoue. And when the Raiders went out and they made this move for K'Lavon Chaisson, I think one of the top names that continuously got thrown out there was Ngakoue. But here's the thing. If Unique Ngakoue's not healthy, K'Lavon Chaisson is a good dude to go out there and try to get. Also, if you believe in your coaching staff, K'Lavon Chaisson is a good guy to get at a fraction of a price of what it would have cost Unique Ngakoue. I think you look at free agency. There's 2 other names to me that I would throw out there as guys that I would be interested in trading for. The first one is Haason Reddick. And this is like if you got a lot of money. And I'll be real, this actually is not the guy that I would trade for, but it would be at least somebody to pick up the phone, give him a call, and see what the ask is. He's had, 3-4 straight seasons with 8+ sacks, and the New York Jets, they traded for him this offseason, have yet to give him a brand new contract, and then what did they end up doing? He didn't play in week 1 against the Niners, and he's just sitting around. I'm a big fan of yard sales. Not so much now, but in the terms of if I'm going to buy something, I want somebody on a yard sale, and I bet you Haason Reddick would be pretty cheap right now in a trade, but if you do it, you're going to have to pay him. And my hope for the Raiders when them saving all this salary cap space was, I think the hope was Malcolm Koonce goes out there and has a great season, and then he ends up getting extended. If Malcolm's season does end up being done, he's going to hit the free agent market. Guaranteed he's going to hit the free agent market. So in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe we could have used some of that Malcolm Koonce money and invested it in Haason Reddick. That's the expensive way. The way that I personally would do it is I would go out and trade for Azeez Ojulari. I said that this morning. I filmed a video yesterday on it as well. Azeez Ojulari is a second-round pick, 50th overall. I want to say back in 2021 is when it ended up going down. And he had 8 sacks his first year with guess who? Patrick Graham. And I think just like the New York Giants, kind of just like the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's been a really shitty football team. I know they won a playoff game recently, but it has not been a good team. But for a player like Azeez, a little bit of an undersized edge rusher, a little bit undersized outside linebacker, in the final year of his deal, I talked to our Giants host here, Marshall Green. Y'all can tell him to go home. But, this is just one of those things where you could potentially look at it going out there, and they ended up I think you could trade him for a 4th or a 5th round pick. I really do. I think you could go out there, end up getting Azeez for a 4th. I would rather you do it for a 5th round pick is what I would offer. And then that's somebody, if he goes out there and plays well like he did as a rookie in Patrick Graham's defense when he had 8 sacks, you need some of that extra depth. And for a team like the Giants, they're going to take all the draft picks that they can get because they're trying to move on. All right, so we did just actually get word that this is officially official of K'Lavon Chaisson is being signed to the practice squad. So going to the practice squad, but that actually wasn't the only move that the Raiders ended up making. They actually also just signed cornerback Kyblu Kelly, Kyblu Kelly to the practice squad. So they added the corner. They added an edge. The Raiders also worked out another cornerback today from the University of Marshall. He was actually drafted in the 6th round of the 2024 NFL Draft by the Indianapolis Colts, but it looks like that they're going to go with Kyblu Kelly here. But I knew that the Raiders wanted to make an edge move. Why? Antonio Pierce said it. Tom Telesco said it. And I think for a lot of the people that watched this video that ended up dropping today, you've heard the name K'Lavon Chaisson. You heard the connections that they had. And I don't think that this is a surprising move. I like the move because I'm willing to bet on our defensive coaching staff. And if you're willing to bet on the coaching staff, you better click that like button right now because K'Lavon Chaisson, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people.